Can't change nobody. You can't force nobody to love you, and you can't make nobody treat you right. Because you ain't responsible for who you attract, but you are 100% responsible for who you entertain. Sometimes it can be hard to get to know a person. One minute you think you figured them out, and then the next they go ahead and show they're someone else from who you thought they were. Whoever you're trying to get a read on, the thing about it is they may be trying to get a read on you too. There are a lot of little things that can reveal a lot about your personality. Like what kind of shoes you wear can reveal a lot about your personality. Isn't that something? Your handshake can reveal a lot about your personality. Whether you make eye contact with people or not says a lot about your personality. Whether you go when you coming home from work and you stop to grab some ribs. Do you get ribs for everybody in the house, or you just get you something and sneak it in? Says a lot about you. Says a lot about you, man. There's a whole lot of things that tell us things about people. The question is, are we listening? There are a lot of little things that can reveal a lot about your personality, like what kind of shoes you wear, or how often you check your phone, or even your handshake. So here we go. 8 things that can say a lot about you. Number 1, how often you check your phone or your watch. Because if somebody checking their watch, it's telling you they got somewhere to go. Or they might be trying to let you know, wrap it up, hurry up and finish talking. Do you check your phone a lot? Did you know that checking your phone too much might be a sign that you are struggling with mental illness? Struggling with mental illness. People who struggle with their mental health are more likely to instinctively and intensively use their smartphones as a form of therapy. So when you get bored, or you get depressed, or you get anxious, or you get down, you pick up your phone and start scrolling online to feel better, to distract you from it, to distract you from the pain. Why do you think people like watching Steve Wilkos and Jerry Springer? Because they're motivational stories? No. Because if you feel bad, you get a chance to look in on somebody else's life who's doing worse than you. At least I ain't on stage fighting with my mama. As your anxiety levels increase, the more you might use your smartphone. The less diligent you are, the more likely you are to be addicted to your phone. The less diligent you are to seek help for your mental health, you're going to use your phone even more. So if you know someone who can't give up their phone, they could be going through something. 8 things that might say a lot about you. Number 2, how you treat service staff. How you treat people who can't do nothing for you, who can't give you anything, says a lot about you. And if you're mistreating service staff, oftentimes these people live off of tips, man. These people, sometimes, man, they got to juggle like 5 tables. Not because they want 5 tables, but because they know if they get 5 tables, they're going to get a tip. So now they got to try to juggle, make sure all 5 of these people got their water, make sure they got their napkins, make sure they got their dessert, make sure they got this one time. And that can be a hard thing to juggle. So maybe one person out of that group of 5, just give them a hard time. Don't you understand? They're working hard. Ooh, man, let's get into it, man. How you treat service staff. Do you treat your waiter with kindness and patience? Do you treat the checkout girl at the grocery store with kindness and patience? Everyone who works in the service industry is there to help you, and they shouldn't be mistreated or disrespected by customers. Pay attention next time to how others around you treat those who work in service areas like restaurants or in stores. Is your date complaining nonstop about the waitress? Are they losing their patience or temper over every little thing that the waitress does wrong? When you take notice of these things, when you take notice of things like that, it can give you some insight into their personality. You might learn some interesting details about how they handle stress, even if it's as small as waiting for your order. Those are signs that should be telling you something. 8 things that say a lot about people. Number 3, what type of shoes you wear says a lot about you. The shoes you wear most often can tell a lot about who you are. Shoes can wind up conveying a thin but useful slice of information about you. Based solely on the shoes we wear, most often they correlate with the shoe owner's personal characteristics. You can tell a person's age, income, and attachment anxiety about what kind of shoes they wear most often. Those who wear comfortable shoes are likely to be agreeable, or if you wear uncomfortable shoes, you're likely a calm person who wears uncomfortable shoes with a touch of internalized pain. They got some internalized pain, so when they corns hurting them feet, they're like, hey, that's just part of the program. If you're someone who's more so aggressive, you probably like to wear ankle boots. And I do feel aggressive when I got my Arnie boots on. That's true for me, man. I don't know about you. Okay, if you're someone who's more aggressive, you probably like to wear ankle boots. And if you enjoy having new shoes or want to wear clean, well-maintained shoes, you might be trying to calm yourself due to an anxious or clingy personality. They do a lot of research on this stuff, man. 8 things that say a lot about you. Number 4, how often you make eye contact says a lot about you. And not everyone likes making regular eye contact, and that's okay. But eye contact or lack thereof can reveal a lot about what you're thinking in the precise moment. People often reduce eye contact when discussing something embarrassing or when they're deep in thought. If you're deep in thought, you don't really want to make eye contact because you are thinking. Or when emotions get stirred up during a conversation. Also, if you're someone who happens to make a lot of eye contact with people, you're likely more socially dominant. People who make eye contact with people and don't break it, those are mostly dominant people, socially dominant people. Because everybody they come in contact with, they like, what? What? How you doing? Very nice to meet you. So 8 things that say a lot about you. Number 5, your handshake. Don't it? Don't a handshake tell you a lot about a person? A weak handshake, you like, or a sweaty hand?
That fish hand is the worst.
Oh, I hate that. Or another thing is when you meet a guy and he like squeeze your hand like too hard. I know he an idiot. Yeah. If I shake hands with you, bro, and you try to act like you about to break my hand where I want to sucker punch you in the mouth, I know right now, stay away from him. He's an idiot. You're going to have to hurt him. Right. He might have a complex. Your handshake can seem like such a small, trivial thing, but it can actually be an important indicator of your personality. Your handshake stays consistent, and how we shake can tell a lot about our personality. The firmer your handshake is, the more likely you are to be an extrovert and open to new experiences. If your handshake is more on the weaker side, you're more likely shy and a bit neurotic. When you have a firmer handshake, you make a more favorable impression on others. But don't go overboard. Don't be hyper masculine and try to break some other man's hand, because he's going to probably be looking at you sideways. 8 things that say a lot about you. Number 6, whether you show up on time or not. If you're always late, that says something about you. Either you're a multitasker or you always putting stuff off. It's always good to be early. Because as long as you're early, you don't have to be late. Whether you show up on time or not, do you constantly run late to things? In actuality, this bad habit might not be the worst thing. Running late can be indicative. Running late can be indicative that you're a multitasker or are more laid back. Multitasking make it harder to have metacognition. Multitasking makes it harder to have metacognition, or the awareness of what you are doing. Because if you're multitasking, you're trying to do a whole lot of things and you're not going to get one damn thing completed. The way you complete goals, the way you accomplish things, you focus on one goal at a time and accomplish that goal until it's done. Then you pick up another goal. Because if you pick up 5 different goals, you're gonna be 6 months later and you still got 5 goals you're trying to complete. You got to do one thing at a time. Or the awareness of what you are doing, meaning you aren't as aware of the time when you're in the middle of multitasking. Multitasking can distract you. 8 things that say a lot about you. Number 7, you get something for yourself and no one else. Let's say you want some takeout. All right? Say you want some takeout. So you decide to grab some ribs on your way home from work, and you call your partner or your family to see if they want some too. If it's me, I'm just going to grab it. I'm not going to call you and ask you if you want some. I'm just going to get extra. So when I get home, say if you don't want none, that's just extra for me. say that you want some takeout. So you decide to grab some ribs on the way home from work, and you call your partner or family to see if they want some too. You do this. If you do this, you're kind and an unselfish person. Someone who doesn't do this is likely someone who could be considered rude, inconsiderate, or selfish and isn't very thoughtful. They may also just be cheap. 8 things that say a lot about you. And the final one, number 8, you put others down. People can be rude to you and you might not notice it right away. If they often phrase questions in a condescending way and you can't help but feel bad by their remarks, then you probably got a friend that's really not your friend. Then they might not be the best friend you think you have. Speaking this way can also be a sign that they look on the negative side of things and don't think very highly of others. So if you got a person who is around you, who's in your clique, who's in your friends list, who's a family member, and they love the tea, they love to talk about people, and they love to gossip about people, you really don't have a friend. You think they don't talk about you when you're not around or when you mess up, because there are some people in the world, bruh. They'll be talking to you because they haven't spoken to you in a while. You know how some people can be. You ain't seen it because they get on your nerves, so you ain't seen them in about 6 months, but they done burnt all the other bridges around them, so now they coming around you. And they got such a sad story where they are the victim and everybody around them that's trying to help them is the problem. But you're the only one who will listen because they done burnt all the bridges. So you sit there and you listen to them and you listen to all what they got to say. And then in a week, they over at the people they was just talking about you now. If they talk about everybody, you better be guaranteed they talking about you too. Don't mess up. Don't tell them no. Don't tell them you got something to do. Don't tell them you can't be there for them, because they want you to drop every single thing and do exactly what they want you to do right at that moment. They want you to sacrifice your time, your money, your mental health to put them in a better position. But they won't do that for themselves. Y'all be careful with them people, man. Here we go. 8 things that say a lot about you. Number 1, how often you check your phone. Number 2, how you treat service staff. Number 3, what type of shoes you wear. Number 4, how often you make eye contact. Number 5, your handshake. Number 6, whether you show up on time or not. Number 7, you get something for yourself and no one else. All of that's selfish. And then the final one, number 8, you put others down.